Ho, 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 nerds. Welcome back to Nerd Alert. I'm Brandon with my two lovely co-guests, co-hosts. Co-hosts. You're not guests, you're hosts.
I guess I'm an elf in this instance.
I was
you,
gonna say,
you have the working man elf hat right now.
Well, I
Like,
got
you're like
the.
the elf who actually, like,
I don't know if you can see the pin. This is last year's Christmas present. It's Scrooge.
oh, hell yeah.
Allison really a Scully cap. It's like, thank you. I love it. Boston Scully, but it's
Boo,
Scrooge.
Boston. Boo,
Ah,
Boston.
humbug.
I am
Anyway,
not
I
booing the city
guess
of Boston, just the teams. I'm sure the city's wonderful. And
uh,
we got James.
I'll be Ghost of Christmas Present if that counts for anything.
oh, because you're
Oh,
such a
great.
gift.
Does that mean? Oh, that means the ghost of Christmas present is now Gen Z.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Won't understand. It'll be like watching like an old Christmas Carol where you don't really understand the old English they're using. I don't know the new English you're using.
It's better than him being Ghost of Present or Past because we go in the past and be like, what is that? What is that?
I know what things in the past
I don't know what
are.
that is. I have no
I'll be
idea.
like, that's a record player. That's a
What is this?
telephone. That's a
I have a record player.
Why is that
What is
cell
this
phone?
slander?
Why is that cell phone wired into the wall? And where's its
That's
touchscreen?
a landline. I know what a landline is.
Hey,
I
that's a
don't know.
manual transmission. You have to shift.
I know what. Both of you suck.
Hey guys, this is James, and he knows things. But it is Christmas season, and we're just gonna go with our favorite Christmas movies today because that's what this whole month is about is binge
Yeah.
watching these. Um, and I tried to do my top five, and then I wrote down a bunch of honorable mentions that if we don't bring them up,
Someone's starting to
um,
sound like me, huh?
dude, I love Christmas movies. I really do. I don't know what it is, but like even bad ones, I thoroughly enjoy.
I'm with you, Brandon. I made my list of five and then remembered more and kept going. And I was like, okay, I hope you guys bring up some of these so it's not like my list of 100 and you guys didn't. So,
Yeah,
yeah, let's have a time.
unlike these two, I have a dedicated five. I didn't
Yeah, but
have
are they
any honorable
Christmas
mentions. Yes, they're Christmas movies. I'm not breaking the rules for this one.
we'll see.
movies? Yep.
I'm ready for it
Oh,
because
I'm
actually
sorry.
in our chat, James sent a thing saying that Prometheus was a Christmas movie because
It
it
was
does
a
take place.
joke.
No. I'm just clarifying for like the
And you're
way
100% right.
I.
Idris Elba is sitting there with a Christmas tree on the pool table or whatever.
But the mission doesn't revolve around Christmas, and that's my thing is that Christmas has to be a plot point in it. Where if they were like, we have to get this finished by Christmas, and then like
We're gonna go save
Oh, no,
Christmas.
hold on. It does tell the story of a fucked up family getting together at the holidays and all hell breaks loose. So,
But at no point does somebody say like, "This is how I want to spend my Christmas." In fact, Idris Elba's the only one who gives a shit that it's Christmas. Everybody else is like, "We've been in stasis for how long is it? Years at that point, right?
Yeah.
Whatever. We don't need to talk about Prometheus. We're here to talk about Christmas movies.
Christmas.
I'm gonna start with my number five, and I want you to know that I think my top four are a solid lock in, and the fifth may be rotating. So for this year, my top five, the fifth one is going to be Bad Santa.
Mm.
I'll be
Uh,
honest, that's not on my list. So impressive.
I love that movie. I do like the unrated version because there's some different jokes and a little extended scenes. Um, but yeah, Bad Santa is something I watch every year. Billy Bob Thornton just like is he's so good at being just the grossest
Yep.
older dude in the world, and just like the weird jokes in those movies, and like the kid's name being Thurman Merman, and just the whole setup of that. I laugh my ass off every year watching that. That is a staple for my Christmas time.
I do like those crass Christmas movies. There's a couple out there where you're just like, dude, hard R, and it's just like, that's fun.
I think my favorite is when he gets drunk and eats the advent calendar, wakes up, realizes that he ate the advent calendar, and then tries to fix it. So he
Yep.
keeps pulling like candy corn and like Advil out for the rest of the movie.
That's funny.
That's such a lovely advent calendar.
I think he pulls it. He's like, I got a candy corn. He's like, they can't all be winners.
It's like
All right.
Halloween when the person runs out of candy and all of a sudden they're giving out pennies or something. You're like,
Like, I
He's
can't
a
eat
penny
these.
kid.
I got
Really?
sick eating pennies last year. You're giving me more pennies.
I got a rock.
I got a rock.
I got a rock.
All right, James, what's yours?
I'm sorry to disappoint that I won't be pulling out any shenanigans. For my 5th spot, I got to go with Love Actually. It is such a beautiful Christmas movie. Just recently rewatched it with my mom, and it was every time I watch it, I notice a new little detail or see something new or just pick out something, and it's just such a great Christmas movie and just a good movie in general. I love the way that it's not one story, it's a bunch of different stories, and it's basically an anthology about a bunch of kind of messed up people just trying to get through life during the holidays. And it's just so beautiful in that way. And you have Hugh Grant pretending he can dance, which is freaking hilarious.
This is turning into the Billy Bob Thornton Christmas special.
Oh, yeah. Isn't he the president?
He's the president of the United States, which I love. He's the one that represents us, and he's this lecherous, like, piggish.
I think my favorite part of that movie is Bill Nighy.
Yep.
I think he's just hilarious the whole time. And then I remember reading that song. Yeah. That was not a movie that was part of my rotation until, I started dating my now wife. But she has slowly adopted that into our rotation. And I do enjoy it every year. I did read a tweet that says if you watch the scene where Mr. Bean is putting together Alan Rickman's present, if you feel any anxiousness, you're a bad person, because he's getting a present for the person he's having an affair with, and if you're nervous he's about to get caught, you're fucked up.
Yeah, that whole story is so hard to watch. It hurts my soul because it's like, no, Alan Rickman, no, stop.
It's also a funny one in that, like, Bad Santa, you clearly know going in, I'm not showing my kids. Love Actually, you like, oh man, I can't wait to show the kids. And then you remember, I'm not saying necessarily they're shooting a porno, but they're definitely shooting something that involves a lot of nudity.
Dude, there's so many storylines.
Oh my God, I cannot believe I'm showing my kids this. I forgot there's like a porno in this.
Bilbo Baggins is getting down.
Exactly.
Goddamn, where's Gandalf?
He's shooting
every time we forget, and obviously now it doesn't matter, but every time we forget, we're like, damn it. Fast forward, whatever. Yeah.
Be like, they even acknowledge they're not shooting actual pornography. It's okay.
Yeah.
But still don't watch this at that time.
Not to mention the one British dude who goes to America just to get
Colin has a big knob.
So what's your number 5?
I don't really have an order, just ones I love. And this is just a classic. It's the only old one I have on here, and I am a sucker for the ending. Every time, the original black and white Miracle on 34th Street. I love that movie. I love the Santa Claus in it. And I just love at the end when they're rushing through the house and like, oh my gosh. And I totally understand how dated and unrealistic it is. But when he's like, I'm just a great lawyer, and then he looks over and he sees Santa's cane in the corner. I'm sorry, Kris Kringle's cane in the corner. He's like, maybe I didn't do such a good job. It's like, yeah, he was Santa Claus the whole time, asshole. I love it. Yay. It's just such a great feel-good movie, and it does, to me, stand the test of time as far as just being entertaining, because to me, a lot of those old movies can just be boring. But that one gets me in the feels every time.
Yeah, that is another wholesome one. You were saying you remember?
I remember being little and being like, Miracle on 34th Street again? And now that I've grown up and like are able to understand it more, it's like, wow, this is such a beautiful film. Antiquated as it may be, but it's just a beautiful story about Santa just being fucking baller.
And I love the coup d'etat or the climax here where they bring in all the mail and just dump it on the judge's little desk there, and you're like, oh my God, this is awesome. Because I don't know if anybody's seen the remake, It's got an amazing cast, but they basically go to quote the dollar bill, or like, see, U.S. government believes in God we trust. And I'm like, that's just not nearly as powerful as all these letters coming in being dumped on the desk. And I love that it's historically accurate and that we still have the Macy's Day Parade, and this is set in Macy's. And then because of Elf, Gimbals has become more popular, and we all know that is now. And I love how all those things still exist. Fun.
Yeah, that one's a classic too. Like I do end up watching most of what we're probably going to be talking about today. Like I think I've watched one a day so far, and then today and next weekend we're definitely going to like binge through some more. But what's next on your list, James?
Oh, I said I wouldn't try and bend the rules, but
I
I'm
knew it.
asking.
We only got to 4.
I'm asking for permission on this one because we do tend to watch it around Christmas time. Am I permitted to bring up Out Cold?
Listen, I love that movie, but
am I allowed to say because we watch it around Christmas time? Can I get that excuse or no?
I have to take myself out of the voting because I'm the reason you watch it. So
that movie is hilarious. I don't know that it has anything to do with Christmas for any reason.
It has nothing to do with Christmas, but
we'll sidebar this. You can write it down as a note to bring up later. But if that, like, in the way that that's a Christmas movie to you because you watch it around Christmas, that would make Paul Blart 2 a Thanksgiving movie for me.
Okay, so then
I'll go into that much later. It doesn't make any sense because that movie's
all right.
awful, but
I'll put a pin in it and pick a different one. I got to go with another just incredible classic, White Christmas. I'm a theater kid. You put me in front of a TV screen where you have hour and a half long movie, 2 hours where people are singing about stuff. I'm easily entertained, and it's White Christmas. It's just feel good, and it's not afraid to actually go into some dark topics for what was a 50s movie during the whole Red Scare debacle and the anti-communist sentiment. So it's going off of the history. It's actually like really, really dark subject matter when you look at it.
Hey man, I've said before, Christmas is like inherently spooky. I mean, the most famous Christmas story would be A Christmas Carol, I think, right? And that is a horror story.
Ghosts.
Yeah. Also, like, if you listen to like Scary Jesus Christmas music, all those songs are about like, you know, the dark day. You better be good. Jesus is watching.
Exactly. Like the pagan traditions were all about the ghost stories. It's in one of the freaking songs, for God's sake. White Christmas is just such a beautiful movie, and the music is incredible, as all things go. And I don't bring this up a lot. The performances from all of the actors and actresses are just incredible. It makes it so believable.
That cast is amazing, and it is definitely one of those ones that I'm glad somebody else mentioned, because it's one of those ones where I'm down in the dumps, whatever. I'll turn that on because it is definitely. Obviously, I'm not a fan of who is going to be president, but I like that term, "Make America Great Again." As far as you just can go and escape everything and be like, White Christmas. It's so innocent. It's so stupid. They're not conquering the world or anything like that. You have, which also leads me to another thing with growing up with another Christmas movie I'm sure we're going to mention later. The rant in it where he mentions Danny Kaye, and the whole time I'm like, I don't know who this is, whatever. And then
until you
like, oh my God, there's Danny Kaye. There he is in Christmas. Ha ha ha. Like, I finally get it.
Dude, the first time I saw that and that clicked for me, I was like, oh my God. Like the joke that has existed in my life forever.
Exactly.
Immediately coming.
It was like the memes James knows, and then he goes to watch the movie. He's like, oh, that's where that's from. And it's like, oh shit, Danny fucking Kaye. That's where that's from. Cool. But I will say the one thing that drives me nuts in that movie every single time, and this is where I go to the bathroom or go get a snack or whatever, is the modern dance segment. I hate that.
Oh, the theater.
That's your bathroom break.
Happened to the theater. It's hilarious. It's such a dumb moment. It's funny.
Hate it.
How dare you hate the theater?
Hate.
But I do love seeing Bing Crosby and Danny Kaye sisters. That's hilarious.
That was so good.
And I don't know if a lot of people know, Rosemary Clooney is George Clooney's aunt. And he, for a lot of his early years, like young, would drive her around and take her to where she needed to go and do things. Was basically her assistant. And that's how he kind of got in the industry. And it's, I love that connection.
Hell yeah. I like that. Oh, is
All
that
right.
the next one you were going to talk about, Jim?
No, that's one of those ones where I did not put on my list. I was hoping somebody else would, because I wanted to have my focus on old was Miracle on 34th Street. My next one that I really want to say, and I think it's going to be mentioned before, and this is where it's out of order. Christmas Vacation. I just do not. If you approach me and you go through the Christmas season, and I don't care what your religion is, and you do not watch Christmas Vacation, we have nothing to talk about, because if you don't understand Save the Neck for Me, Clark, if you don't understand Kid is Full, you and I can't be friends, because this is some good shit, and it's every time I watch it.
I like. Hey kids, you hear they spotted Santa's sleigh in New York? Are you serious, Clark? The fucking
Are you serious, Clark?
Everything about that. That is my number one, but I'll mention it again when we get there. But yeah, I mean, that movie is outstanding, and yeah, it's all those little jokes, even like the where are you gonna put that tree? Bend over and I'll show you.
Talking to you.
I wasn't talking to her. That's the best.
Yeah, that tree's not going to finish. Yeah, that tree would fit in our front yard. It's not going in our front yard, Russ.
I found out. I watched an interview with Beverly D'Angelo this year. She was on a podcast, and the sap in the bedroom was improv by Chevy Chase. That was not supposed to happen. It was supposed to be just a conversation, and he thought making his hand sticky would make it funnier, and that is by far one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
That is brilliant right there.
I actually looked up, because Chevy Chase has pissed off a whole bunch of people. We've talked about and I'm like, all right, what is Beverly D'Angelo's relationship with Chevy Chase? Because she is literally the only one that's been in like all 5 movies with him or whatever. And they seem to get along, and they got a great relationship. They love working together. And I'm like, I don't know what special power she has that
to calm the beast
down or whatever. But thank God, because without her, and I know he's the funny one, but without her, those movies are different. And she really adds that bit of, she's us. She's normal. Well, sorry, I guess I'm Clark now because I've reached that age. But she's the one that's like, are you kidding me? Are you serious, Clark? Yeah, it's just like, yeah, because she's the mom. She's the one that holds this shit together.
She's just on set like, sun's going down, sun's going down.
Yeah, no shit. When he gets on set, I like just even her demeanor in those movies, like with the Christmas Vacation, when they're in the kitchen. She's like, I have to share a room with my brother. Do you know what that's like? She's like, well, I have to share one with your father.
And then she starts smoking. Ellen, are you smoking? No.
Just that angry chop with the veggies.
Love it. Fix the meal post.
That's such a classic. My absolute favorite about watching that, though, is every time my dad's like, I swear it was a different intro.
So here's my thing, and I swear this is the Mandela effect, and I will go to my grave believing that I am right, even though I've proved myself wrong. I may have already talked about this one. When he does the sled scene, and there's that generic music, that him going down the slope, I swear when I saw it in theaters, it was an actual song. Like, I don't even remember if it was a produced song from a band we know. I got the sense that it was not that generic, cheapy, free domain, whatever. To the extent that I, 2 years ago, bought a VHS tape of it, thinking that's the earliest rendition of it that was released. Like, a DVD might have messed it up. I know we have the Blu-ray, it's that. TV is this, so I will get the VHS copy. Brought out my VCR, found all the adapters and connections to get it to work on the TV, put the tape in, VHS, fast forward to that same fucking free domain, cheap-ass music. I'm like, no! So I swear theatrically it was a different song that was released on home video, but I can't find the proof.
And just now, a new conspiracy theory is born right here on Nerd Alert.
Just buy the original film.
Like-minded friends and aged friends agree with me. They're like, yeah, I don't think that's the right music. So I'm like, I don't know where the fuck this idea came from. I don't know why. I can't find anything. YouTube's, any other comment. But when I talk to people, friends, my age, we all think the same thing. So I don't know where this comes from.
Have you tried the Reddit rabbit hole?
He's gonna end up on the QAnon page.
Reddit.
He's like, guys, it turns out it's the same music, but did you know JFK is gonna come back any day now? Like, I went on
I'm a
conspiracy
zombie.
theories.
I don't understand. Isn't that happening?
All right. Well, my next
What's up for you
one,
next?
Elf.
Yeah.
I love Buddy
Classic.
the Elf. I love Will Ferrell. I love that. I think, you know, this will come up in Die Hard, and if anybody mentions the other ones, I'll mention if they don't get brought up. But like, I love not only Christmas movies, but I love when my favorite actors can be part of Christmas movies, because then I get to enjoy them in that aspect. And I just Anchorman and all this other stuff that was coming out around that or with that, but Elf just slowly became something that I was like, I get to watch Will Ferrell be hysterical every year. And it's fun because it's not him being raunchy Will Ferrell. He's wholesomely hilarious because he's dumb to the world. Like,
Yes, absolutely.
That movie doesn't work without James Caan. And James Caan,
it's the best.
Thank you for bringing that up.
His little one-liners, like when he's walking back with Mary Steenburgen and he just found out that this is his kid, and he explains to her, and she's all excited, and she's like, "Oh my God, you have another son?" He's like, "Well, I hadn't thought about that. I hadn't thought about it that way." And he's like totally being sarcastic, like, "This sucks." And she's all excited, and he's Grinch, and I'm like, I love it. It's hilarious.
I love the scene where he tackles him and tries to tickle him on the couch. And it's like not even the context of the movie, but the fact that Will Ferrell is tickling James Caan. And you know that on some level that reaction was like legit. It's so good, man.
I don't know how far you dived into this, but there was some on-set stuff with him and Will Ferrell. Like, James Caan took this thinking this is going to be a lot of fun. Like, I'll go out and hang out with Will Ferrell. Like, he's a fun guy. And Will Ferrell is funny and fun on set, but didn't want to go out and do all that stuff because he was being professional. And James Caan was like, "This sucks. This is not the dude I thought he was." And I'm like,
that's so funny.
Cracks me up. Like, they were trying to reverse roles offset, and they're like, no.
Yeah. I heard there were a few times he was actually like done with him on set. Like, I don't want to do any more of this. I think Jon Favreau said in the scene where he yells at Buddy, you know, when he tells him to leave or whatever, he was asking him something, and he was like, "You were in The Godfather, like be Michael Corleone, like that's what you're gonna do." And yeah, I mean, you forget about it being James Caan.
Brandon, I don't mean to do this to you.
No, I said the wrong name. I said the wrong name.
I just don't want all the nerds being like, "Oh my God!"
Nope. As soon as it came out, I was like, "Nope, just gonna."
Yeah, Michael's the other one.
Yeah, Michael's the one that goes to Italy.
I don't think Michael's in a Christmas movie. Looking. And maybe a James definition of Christmas movie, maybe, but not one that I think of.
I'm trying to think.
Devil's Advocate. Maybe that was.
I was going to say that deals with the devil and Jesus, right? Like, there you go. Devil's
That's
Advocate.
close enough.
Right around Christmas,
It's, you know, it's Jesus' birthday if you're into that.
But yeah, I love the Zoe Deschanel. Her when she sings, and it's nice to meet somebody else who has an affinity for elk.
For elk culture.
Oh, and what's his name? Santa. God, I can't remember his name. Comedian. Not Ed Asner, the one who comes into the store.
Artie Lang, man.
Yeah.
Before he lost his nose.
You're not Santa.
Little turn, and the fight that they get into is like so goddamn hilarious every time.
Even like, what song did I sing for your birthday? Happy birthday! And he's like, "Damn it!" Like, I love that scene. So good, dude.
You smell like ham and cheese.
6-inch curls. Not possible.
He's like somebody, or even the office manager, or the store manager, So I heard that if you look at his name tag, I think it says Wanda, and that's because that was originally supposed to be Wanda Sykes. There was something with the character name being a female, and him just putting it on and being like, "Nope, we're sticking with that." But like when he stays up and decorates the house, and he's like, "Someone's coming for my job."
Santa's got a brand new bag.
Yeah.
And then when he has to be Santa, and Buddy comes to visit, And
You
he's
just
like,
see him staring at him like, "Get the hell out of my store, dude."
I love that. And even like
Uh,
Bob Newhart, like you just don't even remember everybody that's in that. Ed Asner as like you see
Oh,
growing
Ed
up so many
Asner's
people
great.
playing Santa, and then you're like, oh my God, Ed Asner's like one of my favorite Santas. I would have never thought that.
Yeah, and Ralphie from A Christmas Story has a cameo in the elf scene when he's doing the Etch a Sketches.
Which is awesome because what other movie is he in with Jon Favreau? Iron Man.
oh my God, you're right.
He's one of the scientists at the end who's trying to build
Oh
the,
shit, he is. Yep. Holy shit, I forgot
which
about
then
that.
brings him back to Spider-Man Far From Home because he's in that. Yeah, I love that he's still Peter Billingsley. He was a mainstay in my childhood with not just
100%.
Christmas Story, but with the commercials. What was it? Messy Marvin. It was a chocolate syrup, and it was awesome. Loved it. Anywho,
Not Ovaltine.
no, ironically,
They
Drink
missed an
your
opportunity.
Ovaltine.
and we're not even talking about Peter Dinklage and Amy Sedaris. Like
Oh my god.
Andy
Oh
Dick.
my gosh. Oh, you're a bad elf.
No, you're the angry elf.
Oh, excuse me, from the South Pole.
Call me an elf one more
One
time.
more time.
I love too that he's like the high roller and he's like, I want the limo to be exactly 63 degree or whatever he says, like the exact temperature. And what he's like, well, I like when they come in there and it's like, a story about a peach. No, peach is too vulnerable. It's like, oh, of course. Like, and that's Kyle Gass and Andy Richter.
Yeah. What I love when they're like,
Yeah.
let me get this straight. My crack squad of writers want to hire another writer. Brilliant. Bring him in.
Yeah. So good. Or even when they show him being like that James Caan's on the naughty list and the freaking nun is like, but the children love the books.
I know what you're doing there.
So good, man.
That is a good one. That's definitely one that I look forward to every year, and it's a mainstay. I agree with you on that one. I'm glad you mentioned it because I did not put it on my list for that reason. That I was hoping somebody else would.
Well, what is next on your list?
There are several new ones, and I'm going through
Okay.
which one I want to mention that have come out relatively like within the last 5 to 10 years that I think have overtaken what I would have said more of my mainstays way back when we were doing Nerd Locker. One of my favorites hits me in the feels every time. Klaus on Netflix.
Dude,
I
it's
don't
so
know.
So
good.
good.
It
So
is.
good.
I'll forget that it exists, and I'll watch it, and I'll be like, crying at the end, bawling, and like, oh, every year I get to see my best friend. I'm like, such a good movie. J.K. Simmons as Claus is so awesome, and every year I forget who's playing the main character because I can't remember who I think it is, and I'm like, oh no, it's Jason Schwartzman. Oh, Doogie Howser. Every year I hear it, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's Doogie Howser. I'm like, no, it's not Neil
You
Patrick
hear
Harris.
Neil Patrick Harris?
It's
I
Jason
never thought of
Schwartzman.
that.
Every year, I don't know why. And then Rashida Jones, Will Sasso, again, just the Norm Macdonald, rest in peace. Joan Cusack. It's like this cast is amazing.
I like that movie for that reason because especially when you hear Norm Macdonald and you're like, oh man, I forgot he was fucking in this, and then you're just like, oh hell yeah, I got to hear Norm Macdonald.
And he's being his typical dry, sarcastic self as the character. It's so beautiful. And the story, basically the invention of Santa Claus, I just love it. In this town that got nothing going for it, and then the crazy Norwegians that can't speak to the rest of the villagers. I'm like, all of it just comes together so beautifully. I love that movie.
And it's
great.
If I may be a huge animation nerd, the animation bullshit they pulled to make it look that way, incredible. The 3D animation with like the 2D cell shading was so brilliant. I wish more movies would do that. Yeah, Disney, take notes. Stop doing this 3D shit. Give us some 2D stuff again, please.
Well, that's where I like this is kind of out of nowhere. Like you didn't expect it. It's not a big, I mean, the cast is great, but it's not a big name coming at you being like, oh, you got to watch this. It's like, no, it's just, to me, it came out of nowhere. And I'm like, oh, wow.
I think it was a Netflix original, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. And I mean, that movie's a reason I will give other ones a shot that are new because I didn't expect much. And I think I put it on as like just something to fill the background. And as I was kind of like catching parts of it, I sat down and started it over. And I was like, oh my God, this is so good.
So good.
Yeah, such a brilliant movie. That was definitely one of Netflix's good ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Who's
Oh,
that?
speaking of Netflix, this isn't on my list, but I watched the one that you said
Oh,
your wife
hot,
watched to
hot,
mess up your
whatever.
algorithm.
Hot
Yeah,
Frosty.
Hold on, did you watch that with her or no?
I watched to the point. It was one of those ones where I was falling asleep. So I was. That's why I said you watch whatever you want. I was falling asleep, and it got to the point where, and I don't remember the girl's name, but she went up and the scarf went around the mannequin. No, I guess it was a snowman,
Snowman.
and then he came alive, but she didn't see that, and I was like, what the fuck?
There is an unhinged line of dialogue in that movie that I laughed so hard I rewound it. Rewound it. Yeah, rewound it.
Be
I
kind.
had to hear her answer because I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" But the concept of the movie is like Frosty the Snowman, like
But
except
he's hot.
she puts it around a buff snowman and you know whatever. Like the guy doesn't know anything. He's learning about life and people, so he's at home watching TV all day, and he sees like a cooking show and a repair show, and then he's watching Nosferatu, and this is his only like thing of like human knowledge. He's learning, right? He doesn't know shit about anything.
This
So
is
when
like a
she's
worse
home,
version of Frankenstein.
oh no, it's dude, hold on.
I was thinking Splash.
This fucking guy. So he's at home and he fixes something in the house, and now he's cooking a nice dinner because he picks up things, whatever. So the Nosferatu thing's important because it's this line of dialogue. But he's like, she's like ambiguously single. You don't know how or why yet. You just know that she doesn't have a husband anymore. So the line that he says to her in the movie is, I was I was hunting or I was looking for vampires in the basement and I saw something. Hold on. No, James. Hold on.
Oh dear.
I was looking for vampires in the basement and then I saw something. What is cancer?
What is he referring to?
Well, she goes, it's something bad that happens to people sometime. And he goes, is that what happened to Dylan? Like her dead husband? And that's how you learn how she's single. But like this dude's going through medical records in the basement.
His death certificate? What the fuck?
Crying. I was crying. I rewound it. And I was like, I have to hear what she says to this. Because he literally goes, what's cancer? Like all.
So in my mind, James, Brandon is watching him by himself. His wife is nowhere to be seen. And I'm not going to listen to him tell me otherwise.
And I was
I'm
like,
glad you watched it, Brandon. Good for you.
She
Dude.
pops her head and she's like, "Why are you laughing so hard?"
Unhinged line of dialogue. I was like, I think we should watch this every year. I had to get that one on while we had the Netflix topic up, but
That's
I will
fair.
go much lighter than cancer on my next pick. This one is just I can't finish the season without watching it. Is A Muppet Christmas Carol.
Oh, you took it from me. How dare
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's fine.
so good.
It's fine.
It's my
It is.
favorite.
It's incredible.
It's my favorite.
It's that one meme. You have why am I blanking? Michael Caine with a bunch of Muppets, and he pretends Muppets are real people. And then with Tim Curry pretends he's a Muppet, and those performances are what drive
Yes,
the movie.
That is it. Is Michael Caine treats the Muppets as actual actors, and Tim Curry treats himself as an actual Muppet, and that is why Muppet Treasure Island and Muppet Christmas Carol are outstanding. But I mean, Michael Caine acts the shit out of that movie, and every year that I watch it, I'm like, dude, he fucking did. He came and was like, "You hired me to be an actor. I'm fucking Scrooge." Like he's such a good Scrooge.
That is like my dream as an actor, to get a role like that and just act the fuck out of it. So everybody's like, "You didn't have to go that hard," and I'm like, "But I did anyway."
Dude, with the Muppets, it's so good, beginning to end.
And that's what I love is that I grew up with the Muppets, saw the Muppet movie, Muppets Take Manhattan, but there was a long drought of no Muppets. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you get Muppet Christmas Carol. And you're like, this is amazing. I went and saw it with my two best friends in high school because we're cool as hell like that. And
Oh, yeah.
we went to the theater, and it wasn't packed, but this family sat behind us and immediately sits down. And now I have a bigger appreciation. Popcorn, pop, everything, crash. So it was an old school theater where it was just a slope. And so all that shit just goes sliding down. And you just hear the mom like, the kid's like, ah. And then the first time Rizzo, which is early, first time Rizzo comes on the screen, this kid, I think they sat right behind us in an open theater, like nobody's there.
Oh.
Rizzo the Rat. I love Rizzo.
That's almost as good as Papa with the Black Rider with Lord of the Rings.
It's Strider. So that story is I went and took my father-in-law to Lord of the Rings, and I'm not a Lord of the Rings dude. I didn't know anything about it. Hadn't watched the animation, hadn't read the books, and my father-in-law, huge fan, read everything. Get there. Typically, he would just shovel popcorn in his mouth, whatever movie it was. This time, he like literally mid-thing as he's watching this 3-hour movie, didn't move his hand. But then we get to the scene where Viggo Mortensen shows up for the first time. He's like, it's Strider. It's Strider. Oh, my God, it's Strider. To this packed theater, he's telling me Strider. And I'm like, what that is? I've never seen this movie. Anything about anything. Whatever. Shut up, dude.
Shut up.
It was so...
Anyway. I would have killed to have gone and seen Muppet Christmas Carol in high school. That would have been such an experience. I mean, it's like as an actor, I appreciate the fuck out of Michael Caine's performance because he easily could have just not tried, and yet here he is giving like. Oh, sorry. He goes in and he gives the most compelling performance. He should have won a fucking award for that shit.
For sure. Like there's everything about that movie I love. Like just the different Muppets that play the different characters. Like everything about that beginning to end, I love so much. Like, and yeah, Michael Caine makes that movie. I think if you would have got anybody else, they would have like tongue-in-cheeked it a little bit, and he came in and was like, I'm an actor and I will be an actor. And I actually like, I don't know if you ever seen, they have like bloopers from that movie which are pretty funny, especially with Michael Caine. He's like walking with the Ghost of Christmas Present, and the Ghost of Christmas Present actually hits him in the head with his hand, and it's like, oh shit. Like I love that movie. It's so good.
It is.
And it's hard to stand out with the Christmas Carol, because obviously it's been told a million times. Everybody knows the story. They clearly stood out, and that's one I seek out every year. You're right. Good call.
All right, who's got next?
JJ.
I would love to go next. I'm going to pull out the ever classic, and anybody who says it's not a Christmas movie is stupid.
What did I say?
Die Hard.
No.
Die Hard. It's a goddamn Christmas movie. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. Happens on Christmas. It revolves around Christmas. It is a fucking Christmas movie. Sorry. A lot of people tried to argue with me on this, and it pissed me off.
I think that was the most disappointing thing was when Bruce Willis came out and said, no, it's not a Christmas movie. It's like,
it's a fucking Christmas movie.
Look, I love you, Bruce Willis, but you're wrong.
Yeah.
It's a Christmas
Oh my
movie.
God. When I was watching it with my friends for movie night, my absolute favorite thing is they opened the vault, and I went, it's a Christmas miracle. Everybody died laughing.
Here's the thing: the sequels are not Christmas movies. I can agree with. It's not a Christmas franchise.
The second one is.
Is it still a Christmas movie?
Yeah, it takes place on Christmas.
Yep.
Oh, son of a bitch! You're right.
Yep.
Damn, dude. I'm sorry, Bruce Willis, but guess what? You're
He's double wrong.
That's cool because I love that I get to watch Bruce Willis for Christmas every year. In the same way that I get to watch Kurt Russell for Christmas every year, because we talked about that before. Like, I love that my action stars are, staples in my Christmas viewing.
Absolutely. And rewatching it again, the dialogue in the film is absolutely incredible. Like when he's on the radio calling the emergency dispatch, and he's like, "Well, maybe if you stop jerking me off and get over here," it's like. Or the yippee-ki-yay motherfucker.
Will they come down here and arrest me?
I love that. He's like, yep, I'm making it up then. Just get your ass down here. Like,
or my absolute favorite, which my father has thankfully reminded me of so much now. Come to the coast. We'll get together, have a few laughs.
I say that every time something's going wrong, and lately it's because now we have 3 dogs. I'm like, come out to the coast. We'll get together, have a few laughs. Allison gets so mad every time.
And Alan Rickman just nailing his performance. It's like dude, this is a stupid action movie. You did not need to go that hard.
Yeah, he did, but he killed, dude. Alan Rickman, God, I missed him every day because he was so
Oh,
good. And
and
yeah,
it's
in
like
this, he's just outstanding.
everybody in that movie nails it. The dude who plays Takagi is like, he goes so hard with that performance, and he gets killed in like the first 30 minutes. And it's like, what the hell? You did not have to go that hard.
The supporting terrorists, like they're just people you see as sort of B actors in other movies. I think one's Vigo from Ghostbusters 2, Wilhelm von Homburg, Hans Beringer's Fritz, Al Leong, who's the Asian dude who's behind the candy, eating the candy.
I love that scene. I really laugh every time I watch that scene because it's like they're supposed to be serious. The cops are about to come in, all guns ablazing, and he's like, because he like looks at it and then looks away and then looks back and he's like, I'm taking a candy bar.
I love how quickly he gets taken out. He's just on a staircase, and Bruce Willis is like, nah. And it's like the poor dude gets like no time to react, and Bruce Willis destroys him.
And I would like to give a shout out to a connection we have. He was a professor at UNLV. He has since passed away. But Clarence Gilliard Jr., who played Theo, the computer hacker.
Really?
He was a professor in the theater department at UNLV.
Get out of here.
No, I embarrassingly met him once at James. Honestly, he was doing A Christmas Carol at UNLV. He was playing a younger version of Ebenezer Scrooge. And I met Clarence, in the bathroom at the men's room. And I was like, hey, you're Theo. You're in Sundown with Top Gun.
He's like, sir, can I finish peeing?
You're in Karate Kid 2, and you're Texas Ranger Walker. And it's like, sorry.
He's like, sir, can I please just finish peeing before you talk to me?
I did not shake hands. I was
wow.
No way.
Things we learn. But yeah, that movie is so well done, and it's like having a new appreciation for like behind the scenes and crew production. The practical effects for people getting shot was way too realistic. Like the viscera flying, it's like, oh, you did not need to do that.
That's a great movie. Like everything about it is great. And it's like, I think that's a part that makes it fun to me is like, it's taken as like, there's plenty of action movies you can watch where they don't show blood or they overdo it or whatever. And this one was just like kind of realistic, which, just makes for a better movie.
He pulled the glass out of his feet, shoot the glass. Oh. And then pulling out his feet was like, fuck, dude. Wow. But I also want to mention Betty Bedelia as his wife. Awesome. That contentiousness is highly generous. Reginald Vell Johnson. Like,
oh my God, he's so good in that movie.
He is. Like, I never knew him, didn't know anything about him. Family Matters hadn't come out yet. And then it's like, all right. And then he's briefly in the sequel too. You're like, I think I like this guy a lot. I wish he'd do more. And the fact that he still embraces it is awesome.
Well, like that's the thing too about that movie. Like the acting in it, like Reginald Vell Johnson does such a good job. Like, because there's like setups of like action movie tropes throughout it, but when he gets like real with them and explains like why he's on the beat that he's in, and like it's just like watching that every year, I'm always like, man, like he does such a good job with that role.
And probably, if it wasn't Alan Rickman, he'd be the best villain in the movie. But he's the second best villain in the movie. William Atherton. That dude is the asshole of the 80s. I love it.
He's so good at it, though. He's so good. It's just you want to strangle him every time he's on screen.
Even the new Ghostbusters, when he came in playing the same fucking character, it's like, you're still an asshole. I love it.
That's what I loved about it, is it was like, oh, this guy again. Because you're so sick of his shit the second you see him that you're just like, he's here to cause problems.
He plays just that greasy, like, oh, give me a remote van and I'll go report this. And I'll call the IRS, or not the IRS. I'll call you the ENS. We'll get you deported out of here, whatever. And you're like, you're a dick, dude.
Dude, wonderful movie, wonderful pick, James. I'm into that.
Definitely.
Thank you.
And I do
try my
like
best
this movie.
sometimes.
Are you next up, Jimmy?
I don't know. Are you? Because I feel like I said no. I think I am up.
Yeah, you're up.
Go. Another one that is relatively new, that again, you have a lot of these 90s nostalgic 80s movies coming out that are based in the 80s, and I get so tired of it because like that's when I grew up, and it's just I don't feel a lot of them capture it or it's lame. But when I watched 8-Bit Christmas, I was like,
Damn it, you took it from me. Oh.
I think they're just telling my life story. This is unbelievable. And that one, I think it was last year, maybe 2 years ago that it came out. And
Yeah,
this is
2
my
years ago.
Doogie Howser. Love it. Just that movie's so good, and everything in it is like, yeah, accurate. Well, it's a little late to the game because I think at one point, like 1988, I'm like, dude, if you were jonesing for an NES that late and your town only had one, like, late to the game, man. Not true at all. But other than that, for the most part, like he's playing Paperboy, and I'm like, yes, that's what I would play. I love it.
Okay, but we didn't have the scene of Appa playing Zelda for like hours on end and hogging the NES.
So James is referring to my dad late in the game. Like all my friends already had a Nintendo, and finally he brings it home. And there's no game. It's not like one with the Mario. And I'm like, fuck, what? Oh, he brought Zelda. Cool. I'll just sit down. My dad plugs it in, gets it all together, and plays himself. And I just sit down next to him like.
And you're like, I was hoping to.
You want player 2, champ?
I was hoping to get a little play
and it's
time
not even
here.
Like kids have that rule when you die, then the next person takes over. Oh no, because it's my dad. It's like
he just looks at you and he goes, "You can play when I'm finished."
Keeps playing, and to me it felt like days. I'm sure it was like 30 minutes or something, but it was like, yeah.
Jimmy kept a war journal, like day 4.
Exactly.
Still,
I would kill to read that. I would kill to read that.
I thought my dad had a real job. I don't know why he's still here. Yeah. But yeah, that movie.
My dad had a real job. That one flew under the radar, though. Like, I didn't really acknowledge. Like, that's the thing with some of these that go straight to streaming or whatever. I was always like, I don't know. But when you watch it, it's worth a watch.
And I don't know if this is true or not, but I feel like they're kind of all seeing how popular the Hallmark movies were. And they're not necessarily making Hallmark movies, but they're like, dude, we can lean into this Christmas thing. So like Max, I believe HBO Max made this one, that they're like, we'll make a good one. And they do. It has nothing to do with the romance and all that crap. It's just a good Christmas movie that was released on Max. I love the actors. Obviously, Neil had Patrick Harris, which clearly I have a crush on him because I talk about him all the time. Steve Zahn, who plays the dad. Freaking love that guy. He's now in Silo on Apple. I love that guy. He shows up randomly, like that thing you do. And you're like, dude, I love this guy. I don't even know who he is. Well, I finally figured out who he is. Steve Zahn. Love him. The mom, June Diane Raphael. Yes, I had to look it up. I absolutely love her. The kid, awesome. I think he's from.
What was that Disney movie we watched where he was like, mistakes were made?
Yeah, I was just thinking. I can't think of that, but
let me look it up.
I know the line. What the hell did we talk? Oh my god, I can like see it.
Let me see here. But
maybe the movie is Timmy Failure.
Yeah,
Mistakes. He's so good.
That was another great one. But his story with the moon boots. Now his mom got him a girl's pair, which is what his embarrassment was. Well, they don't tell the true story. It was just moon boots in general. I did the same goddamn thing. Wore them out the house. Took them off. Put my sneakers on. Froze my ass off. They got soaking wet all day. I believe this one takes place in Chicago.
Yes, Chicago.
I'm not teasing, Brandon. We would get Chicago's weather 24 hours later in Cleveland. So the weather they had in that movie is what we would have growing up as well. So the same goddamn thing. I'm not wearing my moon boots. I'm wearing my sneakers, soaking wet all day, freezing, uncomfortable, hated it. Same exact thing. Jonesing. One kid in the neighborhood had the Nintendo, and he was invariably the dick. But you had
always.
I don't know how that was the case, but I guess you were that kid because you had the Sega, Saturn Dreamcast. You were the only one that had that. So everybody
had a Saturn. Oh
no, I had a Dreamcast.
The Dreamcast.
Okay. That's baller. That's baller. The Saturn was
But it was so, and that it was hilarious when they're ripping on the glove because you're like, yeah, that motherfucker didn't work at all. But it was everybody wanted one because it was the best. Same with the robot. Like we had.
I still
Rob.
want one.
Dude, Rob is such a piece of shit. I like my favorite thing is watching speedruns of his game because people will flip their lid when the program shits itself and doesn't do what they want. They're like, no, my run. That's a different thing.
The other parts that cracked me up is Neil Patrick Harris's character is telling his daughter in the movie what it was like growing up in the 80s. And he's like, yeah, because I rode my bike here. He's like, well, you wore a helmet. It's like, yeah. And all of a sudden it flashes back. He went from his snow hat to a helmet. And she's like, was it green? Yeah. And it goes from blue to green. And it's like, we didn't have helmets. We didn't know helmets. Helmets didn't exist in the 80s. Bullshit. And it just cracks
And then
me
the
up.
dog getting crushed by the TV set, which did not happen. Or the
we talked about
the NES like blowing up.
And we talked about that with like Dungeons and Dragons and all these scary things, heavy metal, and the news just going on about how it's awful for kids. That shit happened with the Nintendo. Be like, it's rotting their brains. Don't sit close to the TV. You're gonna. And it's like that shit so fake, but that's how it was.
Yeah.
Oh my god, the scene!
I still got a lot of that
in
the '90s. No, like when you were saying the helmet. See, you didn't have it, and then they overcorrected when I was a kid in the '90s. Because I remember when
ESRB, with Mortal Kombat.
Well, no, I'm even talking like the safety stuff, like the helmets and stuff, because I couldn't do shit without being covered. Like I remember because we played hockey growing up, so we had rollerblades, so we could skate around the street, and I had to have a shin guard or the wrist guards, the little like.
Oh yeah.
If you ever had to wear one of those, it was the most demeaning shit on the planet because it just sat right here and you couldn't make a fist, you couldn't grab anything, and you looked like a fucking dweeb.
Brayden, I wish I had those when I took my spill the one time because now I've got nasty scars.
But by the time they exist now, I bet they look way cooler than what I had because it almost looked like the carpal tunnel brace, but then it had this big piece of plastic that went from the middle of your palm down here. And
but if you got in a fight, you went and did some karate shit, you would really
murder a child by breaking their nose.
Another classic in that film that gets me every time, the NES talking to him. And it's like, you don't think about it when you're gaming, it's like you're in the zone. You feel that. And then I love when he goes back and the NES is like, how's your sister? And he's like, shut up. It's such a good little line.
Yeah. And I like how the parents, I don't remember exactly what they call it, but it was, my dad did this all the time.
Oh, the Nintendo?
I think they did that. They'd be like, are you going to go play Nintendo? And I'm like, how can you not know the name? You bought it. It's Nintendo.
N-I-N, not I-N, N-I-N.
But what about that Nintendo? And I'm like, yeah, Nintendo is awesome, Dad. Thanks.
Well, it's also that everything after Nintendo was always called a Nintendo. Like, you want a new Nintendo?
It's Sega.
No, I want to play.
It's Sega.
If you go in and ask for a Nintendo, you're going to get me the wrong thing.
Oh my God. The people who say like Sony are like, just say PlayStation. Please just say PlayStation. It is not a Sony. It is a PlayStation.
But it was like every parent called it a Nintendo if they didn't play video games. Everything I had was a Nintendo.
I also want to give props to my dad. I don't know how. I just remember being with him. There was a store called Children's Palace back in the day, which was like Toys R Us, which doesn't exist either now. And I have no idea how he did this. He got my sister a Cabbage Patch doll. I was with him. I don't remember how he did it. I just remember he had one and we left. And I'm like, damn, because they were literally reporting on the news. Like these are flying off shelves. It was a huge chaos in the store. Again, I don't remember him beating up old ladies or anything like that, but he got one for my sister.
Yeah. Well, you may have blocked out some things.
Yeah. Now, the funny part is I have two sisters, so I don't know how that went down. I know one sister got a Cabbage Patch that year when it was uber popular, and I will also say I did not get a Nintendo that year.
Bill Burr said, he's like, you kids today wouldn't make it with Christmas shopping in the 80s. He's like, there's no fucking way.
True that.
Wow, so this was just literally your childhood, but in Chicago.
That's why when I was watching, I'm like, oh my God, they captured it. This is unreal.
That's awesome, though. That's
really is. And that's where I hate most 80s movies because they do say things and do things. I'm like, that didn't happen. This one,
that and Totally Killer were like scarily accurate, and it's so good.
Spot on. Anyway, who's next?
And so how many of you brought up,
take this,
James?
Brandon?
No, how many of you brought up?
I think I brought up 3.
Okay, so then we're down to the last 2. I'll start with this one because since we named my number 1, I'll do honorable mentions at that point. Cool. But my number 2 is Scrooged.
Classic. Fucking Bill Murray.
I love that fucking movie. Even the beginning, like just the fake movie with Lee Majors, the year of the rain or the night the reindeer died. I have that on a
Lee
shirt.
Majors.
Oh yeah.
Lee Majors. Oh god, it's so good. And I mean, even just like we were talking about with Elf, the amount of people that appear in this movie that just kill their roles, like Bobcat Goldthwait. I mean, God, man, everybody in that movie is so good. And Bill Murray, just for being the funny guy and just about everything, to be this kind of like heartless asshole and still be hysterical, it kills it for me every time.
And the dude he fires and then he comes back with the shotgun, like that scene is so fucking funny because you don't know what's gonna happen.
That's Bobcat Goldthwait.
Yeah,
So
I
good.
just he's
Elliot
he.
Loud.
Honey, I'm home.
I love too when he's getting fired and he's like, well, you know, Mr. Cross, I really think like we should be more. And he's just like, oh yeah, thank you. So he's like, fire that man. And then he like times it. He times it to him getting out of the building. He's got the telescope in his office, looking at him on the curb. Like, oh, it's so good.
And then his Bob Cratchit when he's got like the fucking golf ball coming out of his head.
Oh, that's such a good scene, man. And it looks terrifying.
Is Marley.
Marley.
Bob Cratchit, I said Cratchit.
Yeah.
My bad. That's right. My bad. It is Marley. God, I was in A Christmas Carol and I can't keep this shit straight.
Well, even John Glover, like that dude, Gremlins 2, Smallville, like that dude is like in everything. Again, he's almost like William Atherton. You don't know his name. He being the jerk who's kind of trying to take over for Bill Murray's character. And he's like, oh, yeah, remember we met at Spago. It's like you were just name dropping shit and just being a dick the whole time. Yeah, I went to college and played rugby with the boss's son. I'm like,
oh, yeah, no, he's such a prick. Yeah,
he's like, okay, break time, dinner. Oh, wait, everybody come back. He calls dinner. Frank calls dinner. My bad. Frank,
yeah, he's like, do you want to do it? And hands him the megaphone.
Condescending, what a dick. Yeah.
And then even Robert Mitchum as the the executive or whatever. And like, do you know how many animals, how many pets watch TV?
He's been in some hardcore, like dark movies. And he's like,
man, Night of the Hunter, man.
Talk about cats and making movies for cats, and you're like, what the fuck is he talking about?
How do you want us to get the glue won't hold? How do you want us to get the antlers on the little mice? You could staple them. You better not.
Who was the narrator for like the TV movie? Because he was like a.
If
you wouldn't have asked, we would have had. But
John Houseman, and he is famous for being just a spokesman. And I can't remember what it was. It was some financial institute, and I can't remember what it was. But his saying, it was almost like James Earl Jones with CNN. It was that famous. So when he shows up at this, and you're like, are you fucking kidding me? Like they got John Houseman to be the voice of this thing.
That's so good.
And I love it when he's like, I'm so done with this shit. And he just up and leaves.
But Buddy Hackett, and these are old school actors that you're like, oh my God, I can't believe he was in Herbie, like growing up.
Yeah.
Loved the Herbie movies. Buddy Hackett, awesome comedian. Robert Goulet, like I didn't know who this dude was. I just knew
Robert Goulet.
Find out like he's a
so
huge
good.
crooner. I'm like, I didn't know that. I just knew him from this. Jamie Farr, like he's barely in this movie, but he's like hilarious. It's just his background. I can't remember. He might be the Bob Cratchit. I can't remember.
And then Ghost of Christmas Past. Was it Buster Poindexter?
Buster Poindexter, and present was Carol Kane.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God,
the Nutcracker suite.
When she's repeating it back to him when they're doing the trivia, he's like, I can hear.
Oh my God! When he's in the elevator with Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come, and he's like, "Oh wow, makeup guys did really good on this one."
Good.
But we haven't even talked about Karen Allen. Like, I love her. Indiana Jones. She is just amazing, and she plays this like every woman who we all fall in love with because Frank Cross is a dick, and she's just a sweetheart. And at the end, when like boating a marlin, and I'm like, oh God, Claire, world, Claire. And I'm like, I love this fucking movie.
It's so good. Honestly, talking about her, like she's like you were saying, the whole movie, you're just like, oh my God, like there's the sweetest woman in the world. You see why he felt this way for her. And even when they do the Christmas Yet to Come,
Oh,
and you see her like closed off and all cold,
break them all.
it actually like it's so uncomfortable to see. You're like, oh my god, like not her. Like it's
Yeah. How could you do that to her? Like a friend once told me, great bit of advice, scrape them off, Claire. It's like,
and I misspoke in case anyone gets me in the comments. Bobcat wouldn't be Cratchit. Cratchit is his assistant, the secretary, who
Yeah.
also her story's
Alfred
so good in
Woodard.
that movie.
Can you
Yes.
believe that? Alfred Woodward is, I mean, she's an amazing actress. And here she is, just sort of this guest star almost, but she just drives the movie because she's, again, us. Like, why am I dealing with this asshole? But she clearly needs the money and all that. And then she's got her little Tiny Tim.
She asked what she wants to send her brother for or his brother for Christmas, and he says the towel. And then he gets pissed when he sees that he got the was it the VCR player?
Oh yeah.
And he's like, oh my
Top
god, I told her to send the towel,
which
like,
is awesome
And
because that's his brother in real life, Bill Murray's brother in real life.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the one who is his dad in the movie.
That's his brother. I know. I recognize that brother.
As well. Yeah.
Oh no
I
shit.
love that. Love that.
Oh my god. My favorite is it's like the dancers, and he's like, show a little more nip. And it's like, why the fuck are they in Christmas Carol?
Well,
and
no,
then
he's like-
Tiny
he's like-
Tim being a gymnast?
No, he's
It's
like, you can't see the nipple, can you? And the
He goes,
guy's
those
like,
guys are
"I don't see a
trying. He
nipple."
goes, those guys are trying to see the nipple. They can barely see it.
And then Tiny Tim being a gymnast. It's like, what? No.
Oh yeah, Mary Lou.
Mary Lou Retton.
Yeah.
Famous Mary Lou Retton. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just such a stupid good movie.
To go back to the flashback with his dad when he throws him the veal, and he's like, "Do you know how much that costs? Like, that's a gift."
Oh my god, the Ghost of Christmas Past in that is immaculate. Such a good
yeah, the
actor.
Buster Point. He's from the New York Dolls.
Yeah, wow.
Can you get me to the IBC building? 5 minutes? What floor?
What floor?
Love it. Do you recognize? I love this one too. You know me. I watch a movie and I'm like, I see people in the background. I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe. Are you familiar with Kathy Kinney? She's the nurse that takes care of that woman who sees the nipple, and she's on the ground and she's taking care of her.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Do you know who that woman is? She's also in Pulp Fiction briefly, almost the same thing when Bruce Willis runs into Marcellus Wallace, and she's a bystander. She's Mimi from the Drew Carey Show, the one with all the makeup. And
Shut up! Are you serious?
Dead serious.
I never knew that.
Cracks me up every time I see her. I'm like, oh my god, it's Mimi. Love it. Yeah,
dude, I didn't know that on either account.
Wow, we're playing degrees of separation here.
The Solid Gold dancers. Those are the ones.
Yeah,
with a little nipple. They got cast, all set to go. Big deal. They got like canceled like right after that. They used to be a big thing, like not quite to the right.
Yeah,
it used to be a big thing, and then they didn't make it past the movie. Like literally, the movie got released and they no longer existed.
No shit.
What they allude to, James, in your Out Cold reference, the Solid Gold dancers when they're in the ski lift.
That's crazy.
But another famous one, Wendy Malick. Like she's amazing in everything she does, and she is the sister-in-law to Frank Cross, who's in playing the game, board games and all that. And she's on the couch.
Oh,
yeah, like this movie is chock full of people. Love it.
It's wonderful. Love
It's
Scrooge.
a great movie.
Yeah, I just love that ending. And guys, this is how old I am. I saw it in the theater, Medina Theater, old sticky floors and all that bullshit. Yet at the end, when Bill Murray's like, no, the real men. Let's hear from the real men in the theater. And I'm like, oh my god.
I wish I could have seen it in the theater for that part of the credits when he's talking to the people in the theater. Like
it was awesome. And I was just
that's so cool.
Loved it. Good call.
All right. If I may jump in here and keep with the theme of telling Christmas Carol again, I'm going to go with a very recent one, Spirited. Will Ferrell, Ryan Reynolds.
That movie's great.
You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong. It's so good. And I love how it spins Christmas Carol in such a unique way compared to everything else. The Good Afternoon song is like one of the best pieces of modern musical music ever.
That was one of those ones where it was so popular. Like it was going to be a hit immediately just because of Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds. And I'm like, whatever, I'm not going to watch it. No way. I'm not going to fall for this. Can't give in to the saccharine Christmas movies. And then I watched it. I'm like, oh my God, that was so good. Oh my God.
It's
Like I'm watching it again and again and again. And just the twist of who Will Ferrell is. Like I did not see that coming. Had no clue.
Dude.
Genius way to tell this story.
Yeah, that's another. I was gonna watch it, and I was like, I'm sure it'll be fun or whatever. But like, I think that goes to what we were talking about earlier of just like Christmas movies being a little more like every once in a while being a little more well done and thought out. And yeah, when you get to the twist in this, I remember being like, holy shit! Like this whole time.
Whole time. And I
Oh,
just love the dick that Ryan Reynolds is. Like, all right, I just want to ask. You could ask me one question. 10. What? No, 1. Fine. 5. 2. 8. But we'll settle on 3. And he's like supposed to not be in control, but he's like running the whole show here, and it's fucking hilarious until Marley shows up back to bed. And I'm like, I fucking love this movie.
Oh, I'm making a rap sheet for a 12-year-old.
yeah.
Octavia's Spencer, and it's so funny. Alice and I were talking about this because she's like, I wonder why they didn't approach Hugh Jackman. And I'm like, why? Because he's a great singer and dancer. He would have obviously made everybody else look bad. So you get somebody who is not necessarily known for that, like Ryan Reynolds, so that they're all on par and nobody sticks out as awful. Whereas they're all sort of just good enough to make a good movie as far as the singing movie.
Yeah,
I
that
completely
is
agree with that.
such a good movie. It's such a good retelling of Christmas Carol with just a brilliant twist. Again, the musical numbers are really, really good. And I'm glad they didn't put the one that they have in the end credits with like the water and the splashing. But it's like Ripple, even as like just a little like end credits kind of real thing, it's still such a good song, even if it was cut. And all the other ones are so good. It's just a great modern retelling of Christmas Carol, and it's surprisingly compelling. Like you go into Christmas Carol and you're like, oh, cool. You have the douchebag who's like, I hate everything. Oh, no, 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 no. And then they teach him the error of their ways. And then in this one, it's like, I hate everything. I'm going to be a manipulative dick and make the dude who's trying to show me the error of my ways another dick and win. And it's like, why has nobody thought of this yet?
It was such a cool little take on it. Like it was just a fun twist. Like everything about it, either that part of the story and then finding out who Will Ferrell is. Like it was a very really well done movie, and I bet it would be. I bet that movie would be much bigger than it is if it wasn't just on Apple.
Yes, absolutely.
I think so. But the nice thing about that is the soundtrack is also on Apple, so it's.
They got that.
I would like to now profess my love for Sunita Amani. The Ghost of Christmas Past. Oh my God, do I love her? Like I vaguely remember her being in Glow, the wrestling show on.
Yep. Oh, dude, she's so good. Like
I love her. Nobody's been up my beeswax for a long time. He's unredeemable. Well, he redeemed himself a little bit. I'm like,
I thought that was good.
hey, these little one-liners. Love him.
And he's so manipulative. That whole movie, like it's great.
Exactly.
Brilliant.
And then to have what's his name? Why did I just forget his name? Ghost of Christmas Future. Tracy Morgan.
Oh yes. Fuck, man.
Where's my coffee?
I just want to talk just once. You got what? Christmas bitched or whatever. I can't remember what he said. It's like fucking.
You hilarious. Just got Christmas, bitch.
We got a killer now, don't we?
Anything Tracy Morgan does is amazing. Like
oh my God. It's almost as good as 30 Rock when he's like, what's his character's name in that? Tracy
Jordan.
Tracy Jordan. He's like, my name's not Tracy Jordan. It's Tracy Morgan. This is a TV show. And they're like, no, calm down.
It's just
so good.
Cameo. Rose Byrne, like she has no reason to have to be in this, but she's in the beginning as this minor character. And then my favorite cameo of all time. Can you guys guess it? Do you even remember?
Was it
Judi Dench?
Character's mom?
Fucking Judi Dench just
Judi Dench is. Yep.
Oh my God.
What? And they're like, is that really Judi Dench? I loved her in Chocolat.
Yeah, it's so good.
Fucking hilarious. I love it. I love Uncle Owen. You mean like Star Wars? Yeah, Uncle Owen. Love it. So good. I watched that movie several times. Love it, love it, love it. So good, so good. Yeah, agreed. Good call. Oh, and his sister, Carrie, who it's the sympathetic turn in this one, Andrea Anders, versus the Ted Lasso, where she's kind of the
treating
Ted not so well. but she's amazing in this. Anyway, this when Will Ferrell makes fun of the elf outfit, fucking hilarious. Love it. Just so many good things. Hey, New York, I'm gonna take the shower once a month. You're like, wow.
Yeah, I was
So
like,
good. So good.
Good call.
Good afternoon.
so what's up next for you, Jimmy?
I will go with another one that we've sort of referenced. And again, I thought this was going to be, when it was released, I'm like, dude, you're just trying to pick up on this nostalgia. This is bullshit. No way. A Christmas Story Christmas.
Oh,
I
so good.
watched this and was not expecting anything. I'm not even the biggest fan of A Christmas Story. Like, there's things in it that I like, but it's not my favorite. And they play it. What,
You could have fooled me over all the years. The amount of times you bring that up with Ohio.
Wait, what? Did you make a reference to Ohio? Oh my God! Right. It was filmed in Cleveland. How did I not?
You
Brandon?
brought this upon yourself, Brandon.
But this
Yeah, he really set me up for that one.
This sequel is so good, so touching, and it really, to me, surpasses the original that we've talked about with Bob Clark and his Black Christmas, but also
people are going to come for
And
you in the
if I may
comments.
say, the lady from Airplane being the mom is like one of the best recastings ever because she is fucking hilarious.
Yes, and that is what gets me,
carolers.
the way they incorporate the first story, and they just make that the whole reason that this, and they bring back just about everybody that could from the original. Like you talked about, they recast the mom. I was like, why didn't they bring back Melinda Dillon? She was ill at the time and has since passed away. So totally understand now. But just that movie is so good, so touching. The way they recreate the feel of the original. I just can't put my finger on it. I just thoroughly love it. And then the ending when he realizes, no, he is a novelist. He has told this amazing story that is not about whatever aliens, robots. I can't even remember what is. It's
basically just Dune. It's basically just Dune.
Review
writes
2,000 pages are like, what the fuck did this guy write? It's just so good. I love it. I love the music and the way they bring back his dream sequences, and I just love this movie. I think they really nailed it.
I will say, like, when I watched that, I was shocked at how much I liked it, because I literally thought, like, with Space Jam 2 and all these other continuations, I'm like, this is going to be such a shitty cash grab, but like, it was a thought out, solid sequel.
Agreed. Yeah. And I think that's what took me by surprise. Like you, I was expecting nothing. And then when it came back and you're like, oh my God. And just the little things like Flick and Schwartz being the same characters, hilarious. And then Scott Farkus. And they got the same actor, which I don't know if you guys know the original story. Like, he never signed a contract to be in the original because he was a cast replacement. So there's been rights issues forever because
really,
so for him to come back and be in this, it's like, oh man, Zach Ward. Just, I really enjoy this movie. And if you've held out, you want to be that guy who's like, no, the original is amazing, I'm not going to give in to this sequel. It's like, guys, this movie is so good. It's surprisingly good. Highly recommend it. Check it out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was I'm right there with you. I did not want to give that the time of day, and I'm so happy that I did, because it is a really good follow-up.
Yeah, I just love it. Love it.
Christmas Story was another one where I was little. I'm like, oh, not again. And then as I grew up, I learned to appreciate it. And watching this movie and getting the adult perspective, and Ralphie is still Ralphie, but he's like, it's like adult things, and it hits so different. And then the ending where it fades into the narration of the original, and it's the street of the original. I was in tears because I'm like, you motherfuckers, why you gotta make me cry?
What street did he grow up in? I can't remember.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, Cleveland Street.
Even I'm mad at that
Ohio.
one. Even I'm mad at that one. But it's
honestly, Cleveland Street was not set in Cleveland, Ohio.
And
it was filmed in Cleveland, but it was not set in Cleveland.
but I love how both movies play into each other, and it's like you can play both infinitely on end, and it is such a beautiful story. And again, that ending where it fades into the street of the first one, I'm in tears. I'm like, stop it. No, I don't want to cry.
I appreciate that Peter Billingsley, who has directed and produced stuff, had a
Yeah.
hand in this story on this one and clearly owned it. Like, if you're going to have me come back, I'm going to have creative juice on this because I don't want you to fuck up this thing that I'm known for.
And it was a great decision. It was a great decision to do because like we were just saying, it was not expecting much and it over delivered and I loved it.
Yeah.
Oh,
it
God.
was so good.
The My Old Man, that's when I knew it's like, oh wow, you've cemented this as just a forever classic.
And the three of us can say our old men are all still in the picture. So I do not look forward to this day. But to watch this and you kind of know this is what's going to happen. You're like, yeah, I get it. I get it, Ralphie. That's why it's sad.
Solid choice. James, do you have one more for us?
Oh boy. I'm so glad this wasn't brought up because I feel like this is the perfect universal Christmas movie. As holiday movie, I guess you should say, because it applies to so many. Rise of the Guardians.
Yes. I agree. I hate that movie. Brandon, this is my Christmas 18. Why the hell isn't there a sequel?
Okay, can I tell you something? I was so ready. I shelved myself right now with disappointment for James, and then he picked an actual one. So I'm like, I was actually I don't know if you saw my face just now. I was
like, have you not seen this, Brandon? Are you okay? Like, you're not.
I was actually disappointed that he didn't disappoint me. I was
undisappointed.
I literally was like, I guess Brandon.
Your Christmas 18. That's a good way to put it.
It's so disappointing. There wasn't anything more. I mean, Hugh Jackman as the Easter Bunny is already enough to get me on board. Jude freaking Law as Pitch Black. Oh,
Chris Pine.
I love him.
I love Chris Pine as Jack Frost. Alec Baldwin, obviously.
So good. Yeah. Who is the Tooth Fairy?
Oh, I should say I have a crush on this one as well. Isla Fisher is just gorgeous, but her role as the Tooth Fairy, awesome. Love it.
And it's such the visual identity of the film is really, really good. Like, it's sad how it hasn't been adopted in other things. Like, I'm impressed that they had the patience to render the fucking sand for Sandman and Pitch Black. But like the fucked up and like weird MC Escher type shit they have with Pitch Black's lair, or like the way the Easter Bunny.
What year did that come out?
I think 2014.
I think that's still like I think it's suffering the curse of some of these.
2012.
Yeah, for sure. Then, like, this is suffering the curse that some of the other ones have suffered over the years of it just being like kind of ambiguously holiday. And I feel like the studio wasn't sure how people were going to react to it, so they didn't put a lot behind it. But
if I remember correctly, Brandon, and this is our Nerd Locker days, it was similar to when the new Muppet movie came out. Republicans, for some reason, came up against this as saying it was a woke movie. And I'm not kidding. Like, they said it was a woke movie, and I'm like, I don't understand. Similar to how they said the Muppet movie was a woke movie, and I'm like,
Jack Frost is a transgender woman.
I mean, what I could do is just not watch something if I don't like it. I don't have to fucking wage a war on it with everything else. Like, Jesus.
Whoa, I don't get
it.
Well,
it doesn't have to make sense. So,
if I remember correctly, that was a knock against the movie and why a large portion didn't even go see it. It's like, are you kidding me? This movie, it's got the feels, man. I love this.
Yeah, 100% it does.
Oh my gosh, the you like kids. Oh, you little Ankabida.
And I will say, this is one of the few movies, and I'm glad you brought this up, James, because I was trying to remember which one Guillermo del Toro was associated with that I actually liked, and it was this one. He was a producer on it.
Which I mean, you should know if his name is on something, it's going to be at least halfway decent. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like I haven't seen anything with his name on it that I totally regret watching, but I'll have to go through that list.
Brandon, I think you've met your match.
I just do not like his films for the most part, but I like what he does as a filmmaker, meaning how he's breaking new borders and opening new possibilities. And making people see things in a different way. But for some reason, I go to Pan's Labyrinth. I get it. That's his history, Mexican history, Spanish history. I get it. But
Yeah,
it's damn sad. I don't like that movie.
I get it. I get what you're saying. With that, I will bring up some honorable mentions for that
Oh,
fifth spot.
We're
I
gonna
hope
have
so.
to rally through these.
The fifth spot was interchangeable. I did say Bad Santa, but I want the three that were contending with it were A Charlie Brown Christmas, because that will
Oh,
just forever be a beautiful classic, and I love that I get Charlie Brown during the holidays. Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger, because that's what I was bringing
did
up.
you get the
That and
doll? The doll?
that and the Christmas Chronicles. Between Die Hard, Christmas
Oh.
Chronicles, and Jingle All the Way, I get my three favorite action stars in Christmas movies. You get Schwarzenegger, Kurt Russell, and Bruce Willis, and I love that. And the last one is another Ryan Reynolds movie, Just Friends.
Oh yeah.
You know what? I
I
need to take that into account being a Christmas movie. You're right.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
we
laughed
gotta
my
watch
ass
that.
off at that every.
When he's that version in that sweater,
Oh,
fucking hilarious.
I could have watched all of them be high school students for 2 hours, like
Yeah.
all of them. Was it Chris Klein, right? Uh,
Yes, and then the girl, I love her. She's so.
Amy Smart.
Yes, I love her.
Just him being dusty with the acne and the hair, and
Doesn't he have
then
a retainer
him
or
being
something?
in the
'Cause I thought we had
fat
a list.
suit. Because he gets, remember, he fucks up his mouth later, and they make him put the retainer in.
That's right.
And he's like, "Put your retainer in. It's gross. It's full of germs."
Such a good movie. Yeah,
Oh,
that's a
it's
good one.
Uh,
yeah.
I hate to admit, and I might lose a nerd card after this. I've never seen Jingle All the Way.
Oh man, I love
Okay.
Jingle All the Way, dude.
we've got two movies to watch when I get back home.
I'm sorry, I misspoke. I'm not going to watch Jingle All the Way.
No,
Oh,
you need to watch it.
I'm going to Kyle's house and watching it with him.
I'm sure he's not seen it either.
is the bad guy who's a postman.
Kyle,
It's-
can I come over to watch Jingle All the Way? Because my dad's lame.
No. You got to watch Jingle All the Way, man. I love Jingle All the Way. Like watching Arnold Schwarzenegger run down the street, reciting the eight reindeer so he can win the prize. He's like running to the studio, and it's just like Arnold being Arnold. I'll always be a fan of. And I think it's the last movie Phil Hartman was in, and he is just the scumbag neighbor who's trying to sleep with the wife, and it's so good. Like when he's in there, he's like, "Oh, your wife's cookies." Oh, and he's like, "Put the cookie down." Like,
Put the cookie down.
love that. A couple others we brought up. Christmas Chronicles. Like I said, I think those were very well done.
And I like how it became a family affair in that
this is the best part of the ending of the first one.
No. The dad who passed away is Kurt Russell's stepson.
Wait, really?
Yeah, it's what's her name? Goldie Hawn's son. And then at the end, when Goldie Hawn is Mrs. Claus, and then in the next one, when they're like basically Santa Claus and Mrs. Santa Claus, you're like, yay!
I loved it so much. Like it was cool enough seeing her as Mrs. Claus at the end. It was like, oh fuck yeah, Goldie Hawn! And then that she becomes like an actual character, and the second one is so good.
Oliver Hudson. Sorry, Oliver Hudson is the dad, the firefighter dad.
Okay.
The way
I did not know that's who that was.
Hudson's, brother.
If you don't cry at the end of that when he hangs up the ornament, like get fucked. I that's when I'm grabbing the pillow and I'm just like, I gotta stretch so my wife doesn't see me ball my eyes out.
Well, in the sequel, when I think she runs into her dad at the airport or whatever.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh man!
Like as a kid, like she gets to have that little like interaction. Oh my
time.
God, man!
Yeah. Like
movies,
why don't you
kill me?
Yeah,
kill me.
Yeah, that I again another one that I'm like, well, I'm gonna watch it because it's Kurt Russell, and I'll watch anything he's in. But I did not expect it to be that good. Did not see that coming.
Now, have either of you seen Pottersville?
No.
Next stop, Pottersville. No, I don't. I have not.
Pottersville is a fucking oddball Christmas movie, but has another ridiculous cast. And it was on Netflix for a few years in a row. And of course, now that I'm like trying to find it, it's not. So I'll have to go to Zia and see if I can get it on something. But it's Michael Shannon.
All right.
Ron Perlman, Christina Hendricks, and Thomas Lennon.
Whoa.
What was
And
this
He runs a small town like convenience store or whatever. Christina Hendricks is his wife, and he comes home to find her having an affair, but because she wants to be a furry, so she decides that they
Let's get better, better.
all so basically he goes out, he gets drunk, he ends up in a gorilla suit that a ghillie suit's on top of, and people think that it's a Bigfoot sighting, and it starts drumming up business for the small town. Ron Perlman plays the sheriff. Thomas Lennon shows up as a reality show host who does like monster hunting to try to get the Sasquatch, but it all takes place during Christmas. It's about Christmas, and it's a weird oddball one, but I get a kick out of it every time I watch it.
Wow, I've never
Yeah,
heard of that.
it's a really weird deep cut. And then my last honorable mention is The Night Before, which is slowly becoming one of my favorite movies with Anthony Mackie, Seth Rogen, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and Michael Shannon. Michael Shannon again is the angel.
That's awesome.
The
I love
weed
those,
dealing,
yeah.
the weed dealing
Classics.
angel.
Hey, you want some weed?
It's so good. I love it. And I love Seth Rogen. There's a scene like it's his last. This is the last time. Have you guys seen Night Before?
I've not seen that one. I know
No.
other.
So they're three friends. Joseph Gordon-Levitt's parents die when he's a teenager, and they spend Christmas with him, and it becomes a tradition. But now they've all decided there's one last hurrah of going out and debauchery, because Anthony Mackie is now an rising NFL star, and Seth Rogen is about to have his first kid. And his wife is the actress from Workaholics, the woman in the office, the blonde.
Yeah,
Is she in Spirited as well? I can't remember her name. She's fucking outstanding, but she basically gives him a little tin, and it's one of every drug, so he can just go all out on his last night. But like he basically says, he's like, she doesn't do a lot of drugs. All these measurements are off. There's like, a couple hits of acid, and there's only like one bump of cocaine, and then it's hilarious. And there's a scene where he's trying to like be cool in a limo, and he's just not, because he's sweating and he's all fucked up, and he takes a bunch of I think he does acid or shrooms, but he ends up at Catholic Mass with his wife and her family, and he's like, I feel like everybody knows I'm Jewish in here, and she's like, they do, and he's like, how? And he's wearing a Jewish holiday sweater, and he's like, oh god, they know I killed Jesus. Like it's so good. Like it's one of my favorites.
Brandon, you're not going to believe this. I think you're talking about Gillian Bell, who was in Workaholics, the blonde.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Yes.
Raised in Las Vegas, Nevada, and graduated from Bishop Gorman.
Holy shit!
No, I just looked her up because I'm like,
what year did she graduate?
She was born in '84, so she graduated.
She would have been a little before
2002.
That's crazy! Holy shit!
I had no idea, and
I had no idea this whole time.
God damn it, Brandon! Why couldn't you have been born earlier?
I know, right? I would have been friends with her. But yeah, that's nuts. She's so good in this. She's great. Like there's an awkward scene where Joseph Gordon-Levitt hugs her. He's like, oh my god,
Gordon-Levitt's in this?
That's what I said. He's the main three. It's Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Anthony Mackie, and Seth Rogen.
Well, clearly I was not paying attention.
But like, yeah, they go out, they do karaoke at the bar and all this stuff. And they just like have a night of crazy, and they're trying to get into this party that they can never get into. But yeah, she does a great job. It's definitely on my list of Christmas movies. You guys should check that one out.
Yeah, I would like to quickly rally off a few honorable mentions.
Yes.
That I'm surprised were brought up. Polar Express. Was surprised at that one. They drift a goddamn train, so I don't care what you say. That's pretty baller.
Drift a train, and I was about to be like, I don't like it as much because it's a pretty ridiculous movie, but I forgot that they do drift a train, and I will probably rewatch that now.
They drift a train.
I liked it, and I just kind of fallen out of love with it. I don't know why. It just hasn't stuck with me over the years.
I mean, it's the weird Robert Zemeckis, let's do Uncanny Valley mocap. It's not bad.
They got the awesome music from Elf, but it works so much better in Elf.
Yeah. And then
and the fact that Tom Hanks plays every adult in the movie for the most part.
Yeah. Hot Chocolate is a goated song, but
I mean, Hot Chocolate's a pretty dope song.
and then there's Santa Claus, Tim Allen. That one's a
But
classic.
of course,
I love the sequel. I love that part where he goes to the school and they're having their office party sort of thing, and it's all like down in the dumps, typical crappy office party. And then he's like, "What about presents?" The principal's like, "Oh, we don't have the funding for that." And all of a sudden, in order to impress her, he's got all the presents. I'm like, I fucking love that scene.
I will say that's a pretty solid sequel. Actually, the third one too. Like, I'm not. It's Martin Short is Jack Frost, right? I enjoy all three of those films.
Even the TV show on Disney was pretty good. That the Santa Clauses that has just come out, that was entertaining. I was cool with it.
And then my last one, Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas. That's always
A classic.
What's this? What's this?
So I got a couple, and Brandon and I have talked about the one, Christmas with the Cranks. It makes no sense. Why I enjoyed it. Some of the shit in it makes no sense.
Oh, it's totally a cult. It's totally a cult.
Dan Aykroyd, Cheech Marin. I don't know why. I just like this movie. It's dumb, but I like that movie. So
I watch it every year, but like it makes less sense to me every year. And they're just like they're so shitty to him the whole movie. He just wants to go on vacation, and they're like, "This motherfucker."
Brandon, we know this. It's a cult.
He's so shitty too at the end when they save the day, and he's still like, "Why don't you say a word of nice?" He's like, "Yeah, ditto to what my wife."
Oh no, then you get it. Like why? Yeah. This is why everyone's being a dick to you, Tim Allen.
It's like, oh, but I don't know why. I enjoy that movie. It's good. Gremlins. I just love
Gremlins
that
is
movie.
Great, dude.
It's not scary, although it's a horror movie. It's PG, but it's the reason why we have PG-13. It hits me every time when she describes why she hates Christmas. And her dad got stuck in the chimney as Santa Claus and died. Like, God, that's horrible.
It's almost as good.
Pretty awful.
Yeah,
it's almost as good as the bulimia scene from Zoolander, where it's like, this is horrific, but I'm just gonna laugh because it's stupid.
Oh my God, I'll never forget that. You can read minds.
So Gremlins. I hate this special. But it has to be said because it does now exist in canon because of Life Day, the Star Wars Holiday Special. It is so painful to watch. It is literally the only Star Wars thing that I dread, even though it created Boba Fett. But it exists, and it exists with B. Arthur. So I Wars the Holiday Special.
I forget redeem it with the Lego one.
I was just coming up to, and then it totally redeemed himself. Thank you to the current Star Wars, Disney, John Favreau, Dave Filoni.
Filoni?
What? Another famous director. The Lego Star Wars Holiday Special is just pure genius.
That was so good.
Yeah.
Time travel, the Emperor, Darth Vader, connecting all the damn movies, including the
I got you a Life Day present.
Oh my God.
What's this?
Hilarious. I totally redeemed itself. And
what's great about that is that because it leans into the goofiness of what the original Christmas special was ended up being.
And made it Lego. So it was like, how are you going to hate that? It's so
yeah.
Love it.
Grow up.
And then the one, again, like I didn't expect anything from it. I don't know why they made it, especially given the fact that they screwed over James Gunn as far as the Disney side of things. The Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. I don't know. How
it's so good, dude.
It's a man. Does this look like a man? It's a small man.
That time when you killed Jason Voorhees and saved the camp? Oh.
No. He killed me.
I love it.
Oh, he is an actor.
I fucking love that movie. It is so
that is human trafficking.
Oh, so good. And the song they sing in the beginning when he's like, Will, I need you to go over this because I don't know anything about Christmas, but
Mistletoe.
So good.
Yeah, I love it. Love that movie.
I don't know if
such
you
a
saw,
good movie.
I don't know if either of you saw, but it looked like Ryan Reynolds teased a photo that they were filming a Deadpool Christmas special for possibly next year.
Next year?
No, I think it'll be next year.
Please, I want Wolverine being a douche. Can they please bring in the X-Men and it's like an X-Men Christmas?
I hope it's the cast that we see Jennifer Gardner, that we see Blade. Oh my God, how hilarious! Let's see Brandon Dafoe again. Awesome.
I would kill for them to bring in like the X-Men when they did with Deadpool 2. And I would love it if Sinister just shows up out of nowhere to ruin Christmas. And it's like, why the fuck are you here, Sinister? What are you doing?
Well, the question, the main thing I'm wondering is if you're going to have a Deadpool Christmas special, will Hugh Jackman show up? Like, will we get Wolverine for a Christmas special? Like,
it's got to happen.
The two Professor X's and Magnetos, that would be hilarious to have them both on screen.
God, they age horribly.
But yeah, that could be exciting.
I would love that. Thank you, Brandon. It's a festive miracle.
Oh, I would kill for that. That would be so good.
Well, that's our Christmas roundup. I think that's the longest segment we've ever done ever. So
hey, it's Christmas. It's worth it. And we can spread it out across the 12 days of Christmas.
And if somehow we forgot one, please let us know.
I know we didn't say the Grinch or 8 Crazy Nights, any Grinch movie, or like I enjoy those too. They're fucking hilarious. Yeah. But
you gotta be
as far as like, yeah, I'm talking the original and Jim Carrey. The new animated one felt a little pushed.
Benedict Cumberbatch and his penguins.
Yeah,
I'm not really a fan of any of those because it's sad.
8 Crazy Nights is fun.
Home Alone, because I know people are going to get up in arms about that.
Home Alone is great too. I just watched Home Alone 1 and 2. I purposely leave the room now when he gets to the hotel for MAGA reasons. But yeah,
I was in a Christmas movie.
I just saw a good one. This was hilarious. They should remake Home Alone with Macaulay Culkin as an adult, but now it's The Purge. I'm like, I fucking love this idea. Do it during Christmas. It's The Purge, and he's saving his house. Do it.
That would actually be
my God.
Hell.
R-rated Home Alone.
This isn't my first rodeo.
All right, fuckers. He just has a shotgun now, and he's like, yeah, try me.
So good. Yeah. Well, yes, please let us know what you guys think, our thoughts on all this, and if we missed anything, and ones we should check out if we didn't mention. But hope everyone has a great holiday, and thanks for watching.